as usual, we pick up with Theta. Theta, tell us about your character today.
Yeah, I'm playing Hartman, Donkey Soldier, or Mule Soldier. Personality, relentless. Motto is victory or death. Current goal is inform Colette that Harmon lives.
Cool. And next up, we have Arcloid.
Hello, I'm Mark Lloyd. I play Connor Laverde Ekravich, the Brazen Raccoon Knight. His motto is one hand washes the other, and he has a goal of inform Colette that Harmon still lives.
All right. And next up, we've got Griffin.
Hey everybody, I'm playing the Doctor, the anonymous armadillo ometer. First do no harm, second get paid.
And lastly, we've got Rafferty.
Hello world, I'm Rafferty he him. I am playing Anushka, the microbat messenger, and my motto is know no fear, serve with joy.
All right. And where we picked off last week, you all had just recovered the Rinaldi heirloom sword that had been lost in the I'm getting distracted by these gifts, man. Yeah, that had been stolen from the Enclume, brought to a village called Oatvale, and was stashed there as the bandits, the Children of the Shade that had stolen it, were captured and taken in for questioning. You all had made your way to Oatvale and had begun to... well, when you reached the place, you realized that there was a minor noble, Emmett Enclume, who had been sent there to interrogate the townsfolk and recover the sword. And he was causing all kinds of chaos. So you guys did what you could to pick through to question the townsfolk, and you discovered that the sword had been thrown down the well, a well that many of the villagers believed were haunted. You guys made your way into the cave structure beneath the well, where you found a group of screaming mandrakes that you had to fight off to reclaim the sword. And as you made it out of the cave system, you found that Emmett and his goons had tracked you to the cave entrance, and instead of... you tried tricking him, didn't really work, but instead of coming to blows, I believe Harmon managed to intimidate him with the stories of his prowess, and they decided to part ways non-violently. So you guys have the sword, although you lost Gaston's rapier in the process. And you made it back to Conscient, where you found that Mercurio, the Grey Fox, that you assumed was the heir to the throne, had flown the coop, as it were. The Children of the Shade, Antonio and Frederick, were quite disappointed to learn that apparently he was making all of his amnesia was a fraud. He was making it all up, and having been discovered, it looked like he took off. You guys tracked him down, and in a quite friendly way, you asked him to just try the sword, just try it on for size. And when he did, there was nothing magical happened. You had been led to believe that there would be some sort of glow or noise or some sort of magical indication once the sword was reunited with an actual heir of the Rinaldi throne, and no such thing happened. So we ended on a bit of an anticlimax last week. However, as you were sort of, I guess, licking your wounds and figuring out what your next move was in Conscient, you heard tell that there was a baron in the Rothos mountain region of Doloro territory who has recently captured himself an avoirdupois, high-ranking religious figure that he plans to use as a hostage. And you'll recall that the avoirdupois and the Doloro are currently at war. The Avoir are pushing their way into Doloro territory. Have made it right up to the walls of Calabria, a precipitous palisade on the north side of the river. I don't remember which river this is. I guess the Lior River, although they kind of all come together.
I'm sorry, did you say the Avoirdupois pushed to the walls of Calabria?
Yes.
Well, that's odd.
Why is that odd?
Because we never win against the Doloro, and also
The walls of Calabria are right here.
yeah. But I mean, we had to push through a couple of their
Right.
towns and groves. But
Right. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. We never win against the Doloro. Also, our experience, well, y'all's experiences. This is an out of character moment now, because Harmon doesn't have this knowledge, having just re-entered the world. That the Avidal Paw are basically sacrificing entire towns full of people for manpower for the war, which doesn't suggest a winning hand.
Well, possibly not. Right, but when you mean pushed back to the walls of Calabria, does that mean that Paraval and Lutara Grove have been yielded to Avidal domain?
Paraval, yes, but Lutara Grove, no.
Right.
Lutara Grove is
Calabria is going to be really difficult because that's a river.
Yeah.
And you may notice there's only mountains on one side of the river. That's like literally there are sheer cliffs and then a river. So it is like the most in the least popular attempt to get in. It's so ridiculously defensive. It's not,
Right, it means that we push them all the way back. But yeah, I'm glad you wrote the white thing, because I was about to say, because you remember that the Doloro also had forces all the way down to the crossing of the Salutis and East Granville.
Corners?
No, it's where apparently our line is. But I'm saying you remember the Doloro were here also. Their forces had gone that far south.
I mean, yeah, to get into Doloro domain, you either have to go up here and come down, or go around here and go up. And, that's a long tail. Or somehow scale the walls, which is, ridiculous.
Yeah, and is going to be a problem for navigating a whole, an army force. It's basically just not going to happen.
Not to mention that the other guys have, 2, 3, maybe, 9 stories on you, which means their cannons shoot farther. So
yeah,
the Doloro are allied with a house of noble bats, aren't they?
The Zomir.
They're not in that area, but still, they're on the.
There is a depending. When I've run the game before, there was a Zomir. The Zomir mentioned that they have a hideout or an embassy in the walls.
Oh, because when you ran it for us, they were in the pass. I recall.
No, they were down here.
To be fair, when you ran it for us, that was 11 years ago. So, yeah. And the records are gone.
Well, I also hate to share this, but I run the same game for multiple people. That's the problem with streaming. Now, I can't run the same game for multiple people because we can all see it.
To be fair, though, when you ran the game for us, you were also running a game for people on the next day that was also streaming, and you said, just don't watch that game.
Just don't watch that game. Yeah, it's no, they're down here on the walls of Calabria, but they might not be there. I mean, if a war happens, they might abdicate. They're there at the sufferance of the Doloro.
I'm just saying that,
right? They're technically Triskellion, I think, or Rinaldi, I guess, aligned. At least that's what it says in the book.
The bats?
Unless I'm thinking of someone else. The bats that live in the wall. Yeah.
Fair enough. I got no comment.
It's inconsequential, really.
Yeah,
but yes.
I think I'm going to lean back on what I was saying before. In the week between games. Is that if we're going that way, we should stop at Shalon. See about picking up jobs on the way there. I do, of course, intend to head there at post-haste, but at the very least, see if the Archduke has anything more to give. Or that merchant that I usually work with, apparently.
Now, ordinarily, I would be all for just going as a straight line, but given that there's a war front in the way, what route are we interested in taking?
I think what you just did was the fine one.
Straight through the war front.
Let's see, we'll do well, we probably don't want to go to Aluge, do we? No, it's in Clume I'm always thinking about, never mind. Yeah. Straight up, and then we follow the river. Go through. We probably don't want to go through Bruges, actually, as a matter of fact. Here's the problem, is that we haven't cared about the warfront at any moment in time, so eventually we're gonna have to encounter it.
I mean, if they're actively sieging from across the river, we're not going to be allowed to.
They're not sieging that. That's like sieging the walls of Dover. You're not doing
Mhm.
it. They might be encamped in front of it, but if anyone's being sieged, it's them from above.
In theory, they might be able to, if they could somehow blow it up or build some sort of ramp to get over it.
I mean,
They would have to have some sort of bizarre master plan.
either way, before Red deleted the white line, the front wasn't over there in front of the walls of Calabria. It was over here, the road towards Bruges and Perival. So they were pushed back that way. Yeah, there you go. They were pushed back that way, but that's not there. That's not where the siege is, apparently.
Right. I mean, they want this road, but Bruges is going to hammer that like crazy.
But yeah, it doesn't matter where we go. We're going to be going through that front line unless we do something crazy like, I don't know, something like that and go around.
We could always go up through Harmono.
Well, we can go through the war zone. I mean, where are we again? We're
in Conscient.
I'm starting from Chalon since my impetus is to go to Chalon first.
Oh, there we go. We're here. Yeah, no, we could just get on the road and just go straight this way, where we have Averdepois nobles with us, and we're in Averdepois domain. No one should be. We'll have only the enemies of Connor to worry about.
I mean, either way we go, we're gonna encounter something that's gonna get in our way. Whether that be going around Three Corners Fort and then dealing with the Doloro that control the East Granvert River crossing, or we go up through the warfront.
Is that if there are people on the other side of the river who are watching for people flying colors crossing the river, undoubtedly they will mark us as enemy combatants.
They already should. We fought them in Harmono.
Isn't there a warrant for our arrest?
It's minor now, if you recall.
In Triskellion.
Yeah, you guys checked up on it, and it's like only some of you now, and even then it's not a big reward.
Get back.
So yeah, it's not a big deal about the warrant. Just, try to avoid being seen, I guess.
Well, another thing is we could just go to the coast and take a boat to Triskellion.
Well, we probably don't want to go directly to Triskellion. I mean, I'm saying don't worry about it when it comes to Three Corners Fort, but not to the main center of their power.
Let me look again to see what our current goal is.
Our current goal is to wait. Before you recite the current goal, I'm asking to go to Chalon to get more goals. So,
okay, because I think our current goal is to find Colette.
Yes, which I'm all about, but I want to go to Chalon to pick up jobs first on the way there. And undoubtedly, if the Archduke was giving me jobs before to clear out monsters, telling him we're going to the Rothos Mountains, he'll give us work related to the war as well.
So where was our last reported location of Colette?
The Rothos Mountains, that baron that, technically it's a rumor, I guess, because we don't know that Colette is that person that he's taken, but it's our only...
Where was the last place we saw Colette? Was it back here?
Harmono. When you sent her off.
Yeah, I forget where you met. Probably at Harmony, but you guys did send her on a trip. I think she was headed gonna go through here. Oh crap! No, she was gonna go meet. She's gonna go.
Recommended that they meet with the mystics in the monastery. Maybe stop through Bruges and pick up some friends of mine who I would claim she could hire.
That's right.
Well,
yeah.
Well, let's go to Chalon. It's not that far away. It's a big city. And Connor could always come to the estate. And it's on the way. I mean, even if we want to take a boat, it's on the way to the river.
Beep.
All right, then.
Okay, so... Right. Okay. So, I guess here's a question: if you, when we left last time, you guys had met up with Mercurio and you had kind of waved him off. He's leaving with a bunch of map makers, cartographers, out of Conscient, and at that point, you guys, the Children of the Shade were kind of bummed out, I suppose. They thought that they had the makings for the revolution, and now they're kind of down in air. But I guess before we leave, I just want to know how we want to wrap things up with them, because
Steal their
they're
sword
very.
and take it across the continent.
I mean, that's the thing. You did get the sword for them. It is in your possession. They do want it though. That's kind of key again for their plans. Do you want to leave the sword with them, or do you want to make off with it?
Well, it's not ours, so I guess we should leave it with them.
I mean, Harmon's problem with the whole scenario is that there's no way to know that the Shade is the king. It's an unproven unknown. In which case, we'd just be leaving the sword with a bunch of criminals.
The other option is leaving it with the Enclume, who are politically inclined to never let anyone ever touch it ever again.
Well, I mean, you say the only other. The fourth option is we just hold on to it.
Right.
I mean, who's more trustworthy than us, in our own eyes?
Who's more trustworthy than me? I'm not sure.
Well, I suppose since this is a bit of a political decision, that should probably be in Connor's hand. Sir Connor, would you like to carry around a sword that no doubt would mark you as a rebel forever?
Yes, please.
Mm,
I love you guys.
I mean, he's
Well, I
already
suppose
wanted.
it's your decision then.
He's already wanted anyway, so I guess he's only going to increase his bounty. Alright, here you go, Connor. Here's the sword. I'll hand over the sword.
okay.
I'm sorry, Sir Connor, here's the sword.
Thank you.
All right. It's a quite fine piece of work.
Instantly
Again-
ensorcelled.
What?
I said he's instantly ensorcelled. You've never
He
seen
is,
someone
exactly.
ensorcelled as quickly as he just did.
Yep. It possesses your body and mind. Turns out you are the lost heir of the Rinaldi line. Congratulations, Connor.
See, they got wrong all these years, but the Rinaldi were actually badgers.
Raccoons.
Just really ugly badgers. No,
Raccoons
see,
are
what
really
you've got
ugly
wrong
badgers.
all this time is that you're not actually a raccoon. You're a badger. You're just a
You're
really
a
ugly badger.
Okay. All right. So you take the sword and you head to Chalon-sur-Saulge, the shining avoirdupois city on the river, and it is certainly, I forget when last you were all here, but it is certainly there is a pall. You can see the strain of the war on the faces of those who toil and work in the city. It's I think we're getting to the end of summer, probably the beginning of fall, and the harvest season has begun essentially. So probably a lot of a lot of agricultural traffic basically into the city. Who did you want to go talk to? Or what did you want to go do while you were here? Harmon, you're trying to look for some extra work. So
I would go to the merchant first, and then I'd go to the Archduke, because I think it would be improper if I went to the Archduke and then was seen talking to a merchant regarding if the Archduke gave me any work.
Gotcha. Okay. So this is the Dubois company merchant. He will tell you that they are having trouble transporting. Like they pride themselves on servicing, all civilized cities and towns in Calabria, but of course trade has become much more difficult due to the war effort. And he says that there are some messages that he would like delivered to their holdings in the Doloro territory. Let's see.
Wait a minute. There's messages. I need some letters delivered to our holdings in Doloro territory. Is another way of saying, so you want me to go into a war zone and deliver sensitive documents that if the Doloro capture me, they can execute me as a spy.
I mean, you're just touchy because you were already used as a mule or like as an unwitting spy for the Bisclefray. So
I mean, literally that thing that
I get
happened to
that.
you at Famarouge, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. So well,
Well,
I mean,
that was just a setup. But no,
Yeah.
but this is another level of. I also thank you for wording it that way. Our holdings in Doloro territory. You mean you're occupied?
No, this is the merchant. We're talking to my merchant
Yeah.
contact right now.
Okay, good.
I
Well,
hope the
then,
merchant's not
that-
running a mercenary effort.
well, depends on who you ask.
hopefully. Yeah.
I want to quickly ask, how is Connor for Entourage?
Connor will need to roll if he wants to get more entourage because the Children of the Shade are sticking in Conscient. Also, at this point, if you've decided to take the sword, unless you want to negotiate with them, they're probably not going to be your friends anymore because they want the sword. Maybe I should
Also-
have mentioned that as part of when you guys decided to take it.
I figured that was a given.
Yeah, right. So
Also, unlike the Femarouge incident in Ushka, this time you're not flying in alone.
I mean, I'll still do it.
Well, yeah, but you're going to be part of us.
Yeah, even better.
I mean, technically, I assume I'm the one who's taking this job, and then it just becomes a goal for all of us. So I come back and I tell you about it, and you're like, well, why are you taking messenger jobs?
I wouldn't fault you for taking a messenger job. You're a sellsword, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's literally a case of they're taking our jobs.
It's the Middle Ages. I'm just happy to be here.
just happy to not be dying of some horrible disease.
Oh, speak of the devil.
Help with that.
So yeah, I mean, it's also delivering into a war zone. I would want to have somebody like Armin with me. He seems no worse for wear, despite the fact of being enslaved by the goblins.
I mean, I've been thinking maybe that's that tattoo thing around the neck that you were talking about before.
Tattoos, branding, scarring, declawing, which doesn't really apply to you.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine probably a lot of scars across the chest of like some sharp implement, and probably branding around the neck. I said tattoo, I was thinking branding. Like,
whip scars would be more likely.
I was
on the back.
thinking more like blade cuts, like torturous blade cuts.
Probably wouldn't torture you for fun. I mean, they are goblins and they are weird, but more
Well,
likely
I
they
don't
would
know
put
what
you to work.
measures they take to try and break Harmon when he refuses.
It didn't work, did it?
No.
Too ornery for goblins.
That's a feat just on its own.
That's something to brag about. You might have earned the enmity of the goblins, you know.
Not gonna go down the druid path.
Okay, so
I did
sorry.
think about that possibility, and it's like, okay, the only way I can mechanically be allied to the goblins if I go down the druid path.
So I
Hmm.
suppose we're getting some letters, and we should make that a goal, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Yes. So apparently there is a Dubois outpost in a holding near Mount Grimart.
Mount
How do you guys want to
Grimskull.
pronounce? How do you guys want to pronounce that? Because I have no idea. Grimart.
Bramante?
Grimarte.
Let me see.
Just
Well, let me see
do
the
it well
map.
French.
I know.
Too many windows open.
Okay. Well, yes. So yeah, there's a holding Mount Grimarte, and they have a Dubois company outpost there that they have not been able to maintain contact with because of the war effort. So they would be very grateful if you could bring some correspondence to them. Yeah.
Okay. I loved reading that as two dubious holdings.
Well, here's
Yeah.
the thing, though, is that I also have my my price.
Okay. What's your price?
My typical price, the same price he hired me for at before. 60 dinar a day.
Man, you are so expensive.
I'm also the champion of multiple lands, and the only person I bet that you'll find has escaped the goblins.
That's fair. That's a lot of money for sending a message even through a war zone, but
What are you talking about? You're literally asking to go through a front line scenario.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's going to go for it. He's going to say, "Okay, fine." But we'll want some proof of we want some return correspondence too if we're going to spend that much money.
How about we do like we did before, up front now half, and on return half, and we'll pre-decide the total amount based on number of days estimation.
Okay.
Alright, so what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4.
So going through the
5,
mountains
6,
is going to be
7, 8,
tricky.
9, 10 days straight there, right?
Sure, but also the mountains are really troublesome to move through. So each league through the mountains is going to be let's say it's going to be 3 days per league. Where's my measuring tool? It's kind of hard to see here. So where's Mount Grimart? Yeah, so if we're going from
Say
here,
about 16 days then. Oh, you're
Okay.
going that way. I went straight down from from Mount Grimart. Well, I guess I went straight down from. Well, Mount Grimart is a place. I was reading it as a mountain range name.
right? No, Grimart. He'll say, you can learn this from the Dubois Merchant, is that this is actually famous for a mine. There's a large mine. I guess I actually don't remember if it's gemstones or metals or what exactly they're mining there, but it's a famous mine in Doloro territory.
Yeah, probably
that has a
both.
lot of wealth.
All right. Well,
Probably,
here's what I'm going
yeah.
to say. I'm going to say we'll say it's 16 days, and if it's more, that's just on me, pro
Okay.
bono or whatever.
Okay. Let me bust out my calculator.
No, Roll20 does the math for you.
Yeah.
That'd be a total of 960 dinar, and then half of that up front. 480 dinar.
Wow, what are we delivering?
That is so much money. I don't even know. I'm sorry. I don't think that.
Wait. This is how many days? 16 days?
16
Yeah.
days at 60 dinar a day.
60?
I carry a high price.
That's a high price. But also,
he's going to tell you to buzz off because
He's paid me as much before. It's his problem.
Well, that's a lot of money
Actually
for a
transferring
messenger job.
goods before.
That's a lot of money for a messenger job. Because you also, what are you transporting?
Messages across a war front.
Yeah, no, he would hire 3 different people at 1/3, at 1/5 or 1/10.
If he doesn't want the message to get through, it's on him. If he says buzz off, I'll buzz off.
I think at that price, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's.
I appreciate that you're taking the GM side.
Well, it's more like,
listen here. I don't care though, because again, he's hired me at this price before.
right.
I think it's a different scenario.
Yeah, before we were just walking across the continent. This time we're just doing the simple thing of walking across the front lines of a war that we're aligned with the enemy.
Well, you were escorting goods that presumably were worth more than what you were being paid to do that. So like it was sort of a part of the expense of the transportation through hostile territory. I mean, this is also through hostile territory, but it's not like there's not really the same stakes. He's just trying to establish contact. So I don't think he's going to do it for that price. He'll do it for like, man, even half of that is quite a lot of money.
Skilled labor is normally 2 dinar a day, and highly skilled labor is normally 6 dinar a day.
How about this? Because you guys are making me into a bitch, and I'm not going to be a bitch. I walk away, and Anushka takes the job. That way we still have the goal as a party.
I mean, that's literally what I would do, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this as my job. If you want to do it as your job, go ahead, and I'll just be with you anyway.
I mean, literally, it's skilled. It's 2 dinar a day.
I'm not skilled labor.
Yeah. So, what is it? 16 days to get there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 32 dinar.
Yeah. That's he's into that. So if you guys want to take the goal for that for 32 dinar,
What is the goal?
the goal is to I'll write it down.
I only typed it in the chat twice.
Yeah, what was it? Deliver message in Doloro territory. Yeah. That works. Deliver messages to the Dubois holdings in Doloro territory.
Okay. Sure.
Ingremart.
I mean, it might be seditionist. I'll just claim I can't read.
There you go.
Mhm.
Can't prove you can't read.
Yeah.
While we're here, though, I think I'd probably like to maybe try to ask about conditions up ahead, primarily by providing alms to the poor and injured, people who've probably had to be brought back from the front lines because they can no longer fight.
Okay, then. It sounds like you have a role in mind.
Yeah, probably something to the tune of inquiry or gossip alongside my medicine as I take care of them. Because medicine is the extra help of asking them stuff while I'm healing them. Specifically about how they got injured.
Okay, I'm into it.
Alright. Mind and inquiry or gossip and inquiry, same dice really. So that's 2d6, a d12
Cool.
for medicine, and to go ahead and just say on screen what I have now, I now smell really nice.
You smell really nice. That's the charism.
Yes. Or rather, to describe, I emit a pleasant odor at all times. It is not unlike incense. Every person interprets it differently, but they all find it pleasant to the point that, as I am a friendly, engaging person, people want to be friendly and engage back with me.
Interesting. Okay, I thought so when I read. I had the page number. I thought you were doing the one where you can like secretly read hearts of people. So, what's the mechanical benefit of this one that you picked?
This one is a bonus D8 with influence rolls when making gossip with friendly people, details with friendly people, or negotiating for the benefit of others.
He also doesn't
Well,
decay when he
smell
dies.
nice.
I don't decay when I die, and I'm easier to track.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
he's got the odor. This is this is one of the Catholic Church acceptable signs of sainthood. If your body doesn't decay after you die.
There you go. And now, because you're anonymous, you're like a cologne commercial. Everyone's turning their heads, going, "Who is that man?"
Oh yeah, I'm the mysterious benefactor who appears out of nowhere. Everyone is aware something's going on, acts really nice, and then disappears and just leaves a mysterious tale.
So you are a saint.
I am now a saint.
You.
Yes, me. So let's talk about how much it's going to cost you.
I'm the only one who's seen the Omar Sharif vehicle More Than a Miracle, which has some of my favorite saint characters in it. So we'll talk about that later. It's hilarious. The way they portray the saints is hilarious. So,
well, I still have 4 successes to ask people about conditions up on the war front, and specifically, maybe even places we could get across.
Damn. All right.
While helping them.
Okay, let's see what we can do while helping them out. So you come across a couple sort of disheartened soldiers who have returned from the war front with horrible wounds, in many cases amputees, not that they had their limbs removed in the fight, but more that they had contracted infections that led to the loss of limbs, and they're not feeling too great. I mean, they're being honored in Shalon as war heroes, but you know,
but they're never
also
going to get a job again without a leg.
Yeah, it's not great. They're sort of looked down on or pitied by their colleagues and peers, but because you can approach them with your saintly presence, you find that they open up very well to you. And you hear many accounts of the Dolo forces, although they are not nearly as organized as the Avoirdupois military. You hear a lot of tales of their sort of not exactly guerrilla tactics, but they have no shame or no honor in the way that they fight. And so in many cases you hear tales of these boar berserkers who will sneak up and ambush encampments in the night, things like this, horror stories, or talk about how they're demons and they, as I said, they fight without honor.
Yep. Well, because pointedly, horses are plains creatures, whereas the Doloro are forest creatures. So how dare they hide behind trees?
Exactly.
How dare they use natural advantages to their advantage? Ah, terrible, horrible.
Terrible. Yeah.
So we definitely got the mood there.
Yeah, you're talking about, they're talking about your kinsmen, kind of. I mean, you are a native of Bruges, so.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
it wounds
essentially.
Me some, but
well, yeah. Anyway, the rift between cultures. So in terms of the situation, they say that they have pushed them back beyond the Lyore Ford River, that they finally control all of their rightfully held territory, essentially. And now the forces they're sort of like a détente. They cannot cross the river and scale the palisades without being assaulted by outposts. They mentioned that it doesn't take many forces at the top of the palisades to basically doom anyone who tries to scale the walls. The walls themselves have basically no passage up them. So they're currently, these guys, a couple of them report that they have heard that the Avor are trying to make peace with the bats. What are they called? The Z-bats.
Zvalamir.
Zvalamir bats.
Zvalamir, yeah.
Yes, they're trying to parlay with them because it is thought that the Zvalamir bats know of secret passages up the walls, essentially. They have the rumors are that there is a kingdom of these bats that live in cave systems in the walls, and that if a non-flying creature was granted passage, that they could use these caves to circumnavigate basically the wall itself. But it's kind of hard. These bats don't really deal with them, and so far have kind of tried to stay apart from this war, as they consider themselves to be loyal to the Rinaldi. They have no real place between the Avoirdupois and Doloro conflict. Plus, they can fly, and so you need to get a flyer to actually parlay with them.
Yeah. So difficult for most.
Right. Yeah. A nocturnal flyer who is also representing the Avoirdupois war effort is something they're working on. They're trying to find representatives, intelligence people to work. Let's see what else. You got 4 successes. Is pretty good. So I'll say that you also can hear right now the talk of the town is about this hostage, presumably. There are rumors that it is the I guess would she be a Reverend Mother? She's the Abbess Colette from Harmony. For some reason, there were people had heard reports of her going on some sort of pilgrimage or quest, that she had been seen traveling through areas, through Bruges and through parts of Doloro territory with an entourage. There have been other holy units of people trying to go out and reclaim her, because she left without leave, and this has caused some uproar among the religious hierarchy in Harmony. But and this is the last piece of information I'll give you because it's kind of inside baseball.
Okay.
There is some conflict within the Doloro aristocracy. The person who captured her. I'm going to pull up my notes here because I already forgot their name. Is Baron Emile Meldgard, and I will put that in the chat. He is a baron of a small territory in the Rothos Mountains near Mount Gremarte. Basically, the other barons and the Duke of the area consider him to be kind of a brute. He fancies himself a bit of a sort of like a warlord because he has organized campaigns against Chevernais raiders who like to attack the mines in the area. And anyway, so a lot of the other Doloro nobility look down on him. Now that he has this hostage, it seems like he plans to he plans to leverage her in some sort of in some way to assist the war effort, but he has yet to turn her over to his presiding duke, whose name is Duke Henning Monk. I'll put him in the chat as well. Boom. There you go. So, yeah, I think that probably represents a day or two's questioning.
Okay, this has all been very informative. And since all of our targets are at Mount Grimaret, maybe we could even go around or through Perival, up through Lutara Grove, and then across the river, instead of directly across the front line. Or at least not through the part of the front line where the most fighting is happening presently.
Indeed. I mean, so
That
I
would
mean,
be
the
a
front
thought,
line.
that's all.
I'll also give you this because I had meant to anyway. But yeah, so basically they're holding the line, but there's not much fighting going on along the river. They're at a standstill, basically. They can't really press forward, but if anyone tries to cross the river on this side, they're going to run into a smattering of encampments of Vortipois soldiers.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, so the actual war front is moving up here, I guess around Harmony now, pushing into Orville, where I think Orville is sort of a famous military encampment turned town. So they're already like set up to defend against incursion. So yeah, so they're kind of, the Vortipois are sort of, they're reaching the limits of this campaign currently in terms of like how much territory they could take easily with their forces.
Right, now they have to commit to terrible, costly sieges and other such things.
Yeah.
Which nobody should ever do.
Speaking of which, does the Archduke see me?
The Archduke will see you. Yes.
Ooh.
Because you remember he called on me specifically before, so I assume that he'll at least remember me.
Yeah. He does, and he does remember you, of course. He's surprised because he had heard reports of your demise. I suppose. Yeah, I think that would probably be sort of bits of local lore after you've done
Missing and
official
presumed
work.
dead.
Yeah, exactly. Headed out into the Thalon territories, never to be seen again. With some specious rumors about supernatural entities and things, but you know, that's just bored peasants. But yeah, he's quite interested in seeing you again. He says that would be intrigued to hear the tale of your exploits and disappearance, but he doesn't actually seem all that interested. It's sort of a formality.
Sure.
But he is, well, as I just explained, the Avoirdupois are currently in sort of a difficult position here, where they've run up against the edge of their of what they can pull off, basically. So, how would he use a killing machine like Harmon? What would be the best
As
way?
I said, if anyone's going to hire me for my actual talents, I assumed it would be him. And the reason, by the way, to explain out loud my reason for charging 60 dinar a day is I'm a fucking legend. I literally beat 5d12 to anything that follows my my skill set, which is the cost of a legend.
I don't blame you for commanding that kind of price. I'm just wondering what kind of merchant wants to spend 1,000 dinar.
Again, my only argument for him was that we're going across a war zone, in which case my skills would actually come in to play, I assume.
Yeah.
But he got someone cheaper, and I can't argue that. He is a merchant.
Yeah.
But old Archduke here has hired me to kill supernauts before, so...
Yeah, it's true.
Had witnessed me defeat all of his best nobles in one-on-one combat.
Yeah, so I'm thinking one of two things here. I mean, there's this siege on Orville, and he could hire you as as kind of a mercenary to help the siege effort. But I think the more interesting thing here would be the Lutara Grove. Says that they've been unable to, well, they haven't pushed past Perival. Lutara Grove is their next kind of like site of victory. They know that it'll be a huge blow to the basic morale of the Doloro if they're able to breach their sacred grove. However, there is superstition among the men, among the Avoirdupois troops. Many of them fear the Blessed Ones, the witches that work.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, you may.
Do we actually know where Lutara Grove is? Because aren't these groves supposed to be hidden?
They are. I figured this one's on the map. So
it says it's on the map, but we don't know. I mean, but that's like a big square. It's somewhere around there.
Right, so we don't actually know its specific location.
Gotcha. So it wouldn't necessarily be like a main like a main military target, but it's something they've definitely been thinking about. If someone could find it, that would be worth
I want you to think about like a house-sized target in the middle of a forest. We know it's in there.
Gotcha. Okay.
And by their nature, you can't build stuff around groves. Groves have to be out of the way, secret locations.
Built
so there's no
out of the grove.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, be right back. I gotta get the door.
Okay. So yeah, so there's a lot of issues with that. But I guess basically, even if not for targeting the grove itself, they probably would want to spread their influence south into the hills in that region. But yeah, it could be that this particular area, right? Like this it could be like this kind of area of the map is sort of filled with or protected by supernatural entities, or at least maybe that's what the stories say.
I mean, I've discovered that the blessed magic is the most misunderstood by players because it's not it's not this area. The fact of everything within 300 feet takes 10d6 damage. It's more like because they can control the weather, they can control fate itself. Hawthorne magic controls the fate of battle, which, what does that mean? Well, the Doloro get their priestesses to burn a bunch of hawthorn leaves and tell them which way to fight or if they're going to win or not, and then they win.
Yikes.
And, right, and I mean, you could be cynical about it and just say, well, we wrote down all the times when we used witches and we won. We didn't write down all the times we used witches and lost. But,
right. Propaganda.
It's so weird and so not easily understood that it makes them difficult targets. I mean, cynically, really what you'd want to do is you'd want to take out, I like how you say witches, you'd want to take out the blesseds, you'd want to take out the witches. Because if you can take them out, not only is that a moral victory, but it's also a it might be strategic. It's definitely morale.
I'm back, by the way.
Welcome back.
So that's what I'd hire Harmon to. I'd hire Harmon. Harmon obviously, can defeat goblins, so mere witches should be nothing. So you'd hire him to go specifically take out, a witch encampment. Now they defend the witches because of the Vadams, who are the paladins that guard the witches, and they take this incredibly seriously.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just looking up some stuff here. So Perival is noteworthy for one thing because it does not have an entry in the Gazetteer, but we've come through that area before, I think. But a long time ago.
Yeah, not every spot on the map has an entry on the Gazetteer. So
yeah,
actually, I think we haven't. I think we did the where the Vaslov meets the Granvert. We rode the Granvert up along the walls of Calabria to go to Bruges before. We've never gone by Perivale.
Yeah. I see that there's some notes I took back at session 10 and 11 that involved Perivale, but I don't think they ever came to fruition. So that's as close as we ever came. But yeah, okay. So I think the king of the Avoirdupois would probably here's what he would tell you, Harmon, that they have run up against a wall. They've taken the town of Perival, but they have not they have had difficulty pushing out south from the river into this region. I've drawn a circle around it. The region of the Lutara Grove is still firmly in the Doloro hands, and part of it is due to the fact that there is definitely a morale issue among the Avoirdupois troops who believe that they are fighting supernatural beings, that the blessed that lead the Doloro troops down here are imparting them some sort of evil magics that makes them immortal or invincible. And so he could use a force down there who could help make headway. I guess specifically what he would want you to do is to I guess yeah, he would want you to find the Lutara Grove and to kill the coven of witches that is defending this region.
Okay.
I mean, it seems like sort of a Herculean task, but then again,
that's why you hire Hercules,
right?
Or make Hercules kill his wife in his bed and then give him a series of tasks to recoup himself. But whatever, one of those two things.
So, are you going to call yourself Harmon Goblin Slayer?
No, I don't want to be associated with. I mean, I'm on two fronts there. I actually did like the anime, but I know it's associated with a certain type of thing, and I don't want to be associated with that.
Hmm.
So yeah, my thought process here is of twofold. One, same agreement as before.
Yeah. Well, wait, what was the same agreement as before? We're still doing the daily.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even mean same agreements before as with the merchant. The same deal I made with the merchant is the same deal I made with the Archduke, same deal I made with the cops in that town near Femer. I always charge the same thing with the same payment plan.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those rare cases where that kind of price tag would make some sort of sense. I mean, it's basically like, hey, would you go kill Superman for me? So,
perfect.
So sure,
I did
and
get
he
that
has the means.
Kryptonite Slingstone.
Right.
So we're looking at here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days.
That still looks right.
Finally charge in the
once we
direction I'm going. I'm assuming
leave.
once I get there, the job will be done.
There you go. Exactly. When you find them, either you'll kill them or they'll kill you.
So that's
But either way.
540 dinar. Divide by 2.
Yep.
270 up front. 270 when I get back. With, I guess, heads in a bag.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. And let's see how to. We can make this a goal as well.
I don't know how I feel about killing witches.
Yeah, and I'd probably say the doctor outright cannot agree to this goal.
It's fine. You made me kill my friend. I don't care if you're a little bit uncomfortable.
I'll say discover.
You made me kill my friend for $1.
What?
He gave me a dinar to fight somebody who I declared was my friend. She tried to cast a spell on me, and I countered her, and it killed her.
That was ugly. That was not our best day.
But then again, the Doc and I often find ourselves on opposite sides of the war.
Well, you kill for money, and Doc's apparently a saint.
I mean, to himself, maybe.
No, he smells like one. I mean,
I know. I don't.
Like a saint.
Have you smelled him?
I'm not of the. I don't know much about religion. I mean, I've walked around people that use soap. So.
This is weird. I just want to point out this is weird.
I mean, he's a saint, sure, but there are different branches of the church.
That's true. I'm no theologian.
I do
I
like.
think it's weird.
Also, I spent a lot of time in Zhongyao, and they have a completely different religion, so.
And they smell nice, but in a different way.
I do think of all of the this charisms, right? Mm-hmm. I think you picked a good one, considering that you're kind of an unorthodox sect of Salumer worship. I feel like it does make a weird kind of sense. Like if you're gonna be like the
this
party
one
monk.
felt like it was like the most like the Doctor. It's like this is basically how I play the Doctor. It fits too well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always looking at buy location and shit. It's like be 2 places at once. That'd be amazing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the fact he chose this one is I think really cool because it's just weirder.
Like I said, the odor of sanctity is the one that was always in my be an undead build.
Yeah, which is a weird qualifier for sainthood, but that gets into a whole nother.
That's because then we have to debate.
Practice.
We have to debate who's qualifying saints. Heloise isn't up there making choices. There's nobody up there unless you believe in ancestor worship, which isn't a main line of the church. So who defines sainthood but us mortals?
I don't know. It's we can get into the big issue of when the church in the 1700s had to start. Like saying, okay, we need rules to this. You can't just declare anybody died a saint.
But that guy smells real good.
Smell him.
It's when people
dead a week.
It's when people do things that people want to make them a saint, and like you have to qualify for other things as well. And it's like, okay, well,
a lot of it was pagan conversion. It was kind of like, hey, turns out your god was a god the whole time. They're Saint Cuthbert or whatever. Turns out, yeah, your religion's the same as ours. Give us 10th of your income. Because it makes it a lot easier. Or, hey, that boss you really like, turns out he's a god. Well, not a god, but a saint, which is a god as far as you guys are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a lot of cynicism going on.
Yeah, what was that movie with the missionaries that go to Japan?
Mission?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not,
is that the mission with, who's the guy who was in all those movies with the dad who tried to get his daughter back?
Liam Neeson?
Liam Neeson, yeah, where he's the missionary that was there before, and he's given up. He's like, no, you don't understand. When the sun rises, they don't see God, and whatever,
Yeah, I mean, we could be cynical about it. I mean, the weird part about it is the Doc. The fact that the Doc is showing a charism means he's, like, puts his whole piety thing in a different perspective.
And of course, I'm wandering around Shalon sur Saldre for a couple of days, and people are going to start to notice.
Well, the religion now, Avoirdupois domain does have cuius, or does have regio religio. It does have the official state religion, which is penitence. So if you go around spouting Orchamene doctrine, one of the aspects of saints is martyrdom.
Ah, yes, of course.
I mean, you can't go around claiming my body doesn't decompose after I die, unless someone comes along and kills you.
Yeah, that's true.
But of course, the doctor isn't the type to go around making those specific claims. He's just likely to go, oh, well, that's kind of weird. Wait, you're giving me sainthood now?
Right, so just be careful. Well, your mere existence can cause problems.
Right, the heterodoxy saint. It's a threat to all the establishment.
I mean,
as long as,
you are at least 2 towns away from the Heliodrome capital.
well, there is no Heliodrome capital. I say out loud so the authorities can hear me say.
No, Porto Soleil. It's the only place it's legally accepted that you can practice heliodomancy.
Yeah, we're not supposed to be talking about it.
Ah, yes, I too like that the heretics are far away and will never be a part of normal society, wink.
It's not heresy if it's allowed.
It's heresy everywhere except there where we keep them contained, wink.
Yeah,
my problem here is that my first Ironclaw character had to fight this sort of argument all the time. So now it's built in to me.
I know, you guys are troublemakers. I love it. Let's brazenly and loudly defy authority.
I mean, this was an out-of-character discussion anyway, so it's not like I'm standing next to the Archduke like, hey, what do you think about the Heliodromes? Like, 2 leagues away from us.
Yeah.
It's not something Harmon would even think about. Harmon thinks about the pragmatic mortal plane of existence. He's not considering what happens to souls and whatnot.
Right. Things just get awkward if you invite the doctor to come along to you to visit the Archduke. Things get very awkward very quickly.
I mean, I think things are kind of awkward, and that the only way that I have to learn to read is Anushka teaching me to read out of one of your books. Your pamphlets, your chapbooks.
The only other thing I have to read is this flyer selling wine.